Hi everyone, it's Joanne Gabriel, and I'm back with another prophetic word from the Lord. Now, I received a dream from the Lord on September 18th, 2024, concerning Nephilim and children in South Africa. Okay, so again, I got this prophetic word from a dream on September 18th, 2024. So I'm gonna go ahead and explain this dream for you guys. In this dream, I just flew into an airport. I got my bags and I was just waiting at the terminal to get picked up by a driver. When I was waiting at the terminal, in my spirit, I knew that I was in South Africa. So I got picked up by the driver and he was taking me to this specific house that I was gonna be staying at for the time. So when we were driving on the way to the house, the driver told me that we needed to take this specific road to get there quicker. So then what had happened was we were on the main road and then he decided to take the shortcut and we had to drive through the forest like multiple times. So we're on the main road, he swerves and then we end up driving into the forest. As we're driving into the forest, I see these human-like creatures, okay? The creatures had very dark, almost grayish black, ashy skin, and they had yellow stripes. So if you guys know the movie Avatar with the blue people, they kind of looked like that, but with darker, ashy skin. And instead of dark blue stripes, they had yellow stripes. These creatures also had a very thin cloth, wrapped around their waist. So they didn't have clothes on. They just had, a little covering, just like Tarzan type of thing. Okay, so I saw these beings as we were driving through the forest. And when they saw us driving, they started to attack us. Okay, so I understood that these beings were cannibals. In my spirit, I saw them, basically scavenging for some food. But when I saw them eating the food in the dream in the forest, I knew that it was human flesh. So again, I saw these beings when the driver, left the main road and took us through some shortcuts in the forest, right? And the funny thing is, I only saw these creatures as we were getting to the edge of the forest. So in the thick of the forest in the middle, they weren't really there, but they were more so on the outskirts of the forest based off of how the driver was driving, right? And I remember thinking in the dream, they're so close to the main land, okay? So at this point, the driver, is trying to dodge all of these creatures in the forest, right? And we make it to the other side and there's this big blue and white house. So basically, right, me and the driver were getting chased by these, cannibals, avatar-looking people, right? We make it out of the forest and we get to this blue and white house. So when we pull up to the house, I see a couple of children running out. They're like young adults. And I also saw one woman. She was older. And in my spirit, I understood that she took care of all the young people living in that house. Again, it was a blue and white house. So the children or the young adults were like, oh no, you're getting attacked. This always happens, XYZ. So they weren't really surprised that I was getting chased by these Nephilim supernatural creatures in the forest, right? One thing I want to highlight is that the house was blue and white, like I keep saying. So I went to Google, right, to try and find basically a reference for how the house looked. And here in America, usually these blue and white houses that are really big are beach houses. Okay, so the house that I saw in my dream was basically a really nice beach house. It was 3 stories high. And one of the Nephilim that chased us out, right, or one of the Nephilim that followed us all the way to the house threw a rock to the top window of the house. So I'm going to put a picture so you guys can kind of see. So yeah, one of the creatures in the forest threw a rock from yards away and it smashed the top window of the house, right? So God was showing me in the dream that these creatures that live in the forest in South Africa, which are Nephilim, have supernatural strength. And I also want to say this again. The driver and I, we were driving to get away from the forest and the creatures were running after us. So God also showed me that these creatures have supernatural speed. So in essence, this Nephilim and, the creatures from the forest were trying to get me and the other children that live in the house to eat us, okay? Right, so the woman that came out of the house, she yelled at the Nephilim, chastised him, one of them, and it basically went away. That was basically the dream, very vivid. It was also very long. It just felt super long when I was sleeping, right? But long story short, what is God saying through this dream? So the Lord is basically revealing to me that there are certain, type of Nephilim that's living in the forest of South Africa. The blue and white house, right? Like I said, it was a beach house. So God basically showed me that these Nephilim are living on the outskirts of the forest and they're taking children from coastal neighborhoods, okay? So God is just revealing that there are Nephilim in the forest that live on the outskirts, right? That are going to coastal neighborhoods, coastal areas to take children to eat them, okay? And I want to reiterate this. The Nephilim, they looked like the blue avatar. They had very dark, almost black, but very ashy skin, but the stripes on their body were yellow. Okay, so I saw these creatures. They weren't nice at all. They were very aggressive. Again, they had supernatural speed and strength. So there is a lot going on right now with children going missing. Some of that is due to, just wicked and perverted people, but some of that is also because of Nephilim. So this prophetic word is for South Africa. It's a warning. You guys need to pray over your children, protect your children, watch over them, be very watchful, okay? Because there's so many creatures. Again, the supernatural is starting to mix with the natural. So people are going to start seeing Nephilim. You're going to start seeing these creatures. And God is highlighting one of the places we're going to see them first is South Africa. Okay, so, and why am I highlighting children? Why am I highlighting young adults? Because that's what God showed me in the dream. Remember, the house was full of young adults, teenagers, and the woman that came out, she was overseeing the whole house. That's what I felt in my spirit. So yeah, I just want to emphasize that again. So guys, the Lord just wants me to release this word. Nephilim are very real. I just pray that the body of Christ would wake up. Like, this very lukewarm American Christianity is not going to hold in these last days. We need to understand the supernatural things that are occurring and happening, because a lot of creatures are going to start making appearances. And God has shown that South Africa is going to be one of the most prominent countries where, the Nephilim show up first. Okay, so yeah, guys, please take heed to this prophetic warning and stay blessed.